What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again with some Ranch Simulator this time, guys. This has been sitting on my wish list for quite a while, since it came out, actually, and I finally decided to pick it up. Now, as you guys can see, I have already been playing for a pretty decent bit. I started playing this yesterday. I'm already into day 24. I've been really hooked on this. With that being said, I've kind of struggled a little bit as I've tried to learn the game without really any sort of help or guides. I initially decided to try and start a chicken coop, and I built this big coop, and I was like, oh, I just get a whole bunch of chickens, and it ended up not working out very well for me. Chickens are kind of miserable to keep. I've had issues with them dying because they can't reach the food. I forgot to pick up food one time, and even though I got back, there was a couple that died before I got back, but then even though there was still a bunch that were really close to starving but were still alive, they just didn't eat. So then I had several more die right in front of me. I lost half of the ones I had. It was unfortunate. So it's been pretty miserable. I've probably spent more money trying to keep these things than I've made off of them. The eggs don't really cover the cost of the food that they ingest, and yeah, the chickens themselves sell for a pretty decent amount. It's 50 per head of chicken, and I've been tempted just to sell the chickens as they grow up and just do that, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know if it's more worthwhile to process them down into actual foods. The chickens I've skinned and sold raw don't sell for very much. They only sell for 24 a head, so if I can just cull live chickens, that would be kind of idealistic. But what's on my agenda for today is creating a new building. So we've got a few structures already here. We've got our old abandoned farmhouse or barn or whatever this used to be, storage shed, whatever, that came with the farm that I haven't demolished because I like the look of it. We've got our own farmhouse here that we just recently completed construction on. This is mostly just a decorative thing. There isn't really too much going on here that's really worth showing off. We've got our chicken coop, which, like I said, it's been a complete nightmare. We've got a windmill for helping supply this. Now, I kind of want to construct around this windmill, and I've already come to regret one of my bigger building decisions, but basically, because this supplies water, it's filling up the water trough here. I would like to build another barn right here that will be either for cows or pigs, and then I guess I'm tempted to maybe tear down that building there and get rid of this wall here and stuff and build another barn here next to this structure. I would kind of like one where this greenhouse is for accessibility to the store, and then just convert this building into meat processing, because right now this is basically just kind of my everything room. It's my makeshift sawmill, which I've got a couple things just haphazardly thrown down. It's my storage room for extra supplies. It's where I check the eggs for fertilization if I don't get to them in time, and I've got some other stuff I've just been kind of playing around with here. I've been trying to figure out how to use this thing, the stunner, but I haven't really figured it out very well. So, yeah, we need a logging camp, basically, the sawmill, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, you can see all the pre-planted trees, or the self-planted trees I had there next to that building as I was using that as a sawmill, but I'm thinking we still want this kind of central to our buildings here. We want, because there's going to be a lot more buildings we're going to need. I need at least one more barn, probably 2 more barns for animals. Maybe another barn for storage of a future combine for actual farming implements. Potentially more greenhouses or expansion of this greenhouse. Again, I don't really know if I even want to keep this greenhouse where it's at, but this thing has eaten up a ton of wood and supplies, and it's been a very time-consuming endeavor to this point. So I want to get a little bit more money's worth out of this before I destroy this. So this will probably not be going anywhere in the immediate future, but at some point down the road, maybe. And I'm trying to think of what else we might need here in terms of buildings and structures. I guess let's go through here real quick. I mean, again, yeah, the barn, again, we'll need at least 1 or 2 of those for animals, but Chicken coops. I'm kind of done with chickens, to be honest with you guys. Uh, I might, if we can get, meat production up and, it's worthwhile culling these chickens for food, or we can, start doing stuff with the eggs. I don't know if there's any options to, like, process the eggs further for better money. I wouldn't mind necessarily doing that. Probably what I should do is just get egg baskets and then just have that stored in a bunch of baskets here and then just sell them whenever they're actually selling for decent money. But yeah, I've got this kind of set up with plans to potentially expand out this way with another coop if we need it. I'd probably build the big walk-in one. This one's okay. I mean, it's nice. This has these slide-out drawers, which are great for fertilized eggs if they put the eggs in here, but sometimes they'll put them out here. And I could just try to keep them all inside, but it's kind of a nightmare. They don't like to all stay inside, and actually operating around that many chickens inside of there is kind of terrible. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is maybe back over this way further out. I wouldn't mind having the training area for horses and stuff sometime down the line. I'm thinking if we're going to do a shed for tractors, that's probably going to be closer to the fields over there. So maybe right along in here is where we do this this sawmill here. So I think I'm not sure if it's going to let me do this with the all the trees and stuff that are down currently. The only thing I kind of wish we could have maybe a little bit better is something a little bit more scenic. There's not much scenery going on here, and I have a feeling I'll be staring at this stuff for quite a while. So it'd be nice that I'm going to be staring out. I'm going to be staring out at, like, the like nicer mountain range or something. I wish there was like a creek or something that ran by, just something to add to it a little bit. Don't want to get too far over that way though. Maybe something at like an angle here, and then like we kind of have the ranch like wrap around in like an L shape. So like this acts as like kind of a corner here, even though there would be like a whole bunch of space back here that we wouldn't be utilizing necessarily. At least right now, we just basically have this here, and then back over this way, and however far we wanted to go would be our trees. So let's lay this out. Let's see if maybe we can get kind of an idea of what we'd want going for the silhouette of this building. We're just going to move our UTV and wagon over there, trailer. So I'm guessing we're just going to go with this basic building foundation set. It's kind of a shame. There's some like really nice kind of like arch trim pieces in the old farmhouse that the game starts with in the tutorial that you demolish. And I'd really like those pieces in the sawmill. That would be super nice. I'd really like that. I don't think those pieces are available in here, though. I'm just kind of double checking to see if maybe I missed them. What I kind of want to do is have this basically open at least on one side. So I can basically just kind of easily hop up and into the place to put these logs in there. So what's the difference between the wooden foundation and the wooden floor? I guess the wooden floor is maybe for like second floors. Alright, yeah, so let's do this. Let's say maybe right here. I don't know how long I want this building to be. It doesn't need to be insanely big because this is just a solo campaign. Realistically, I only need like 1 or 2 width on this for this to be kind of viable. Maybe a little bit bigger just for storage purposes. The other thing I need to figure out is how I want to actually lay out the saws and which saws specifically I want to use. Let's go over here. I'll probably bring it a little bit more to the right here, because as we're coming through this way, well, I mean, with this, like the way it's framed right here, it looks pretty decent. And yeah, we just basically drive through and kind of corner around here and go into whatever other buildings we might have. I can't build all the stairs I want right now because we got trees in the way. But that won't be an issue for too long here. Once we actually start getting this set up here, I'll probably set up a couple saws just to start taking advantage of this stuff right away. So this would be kind of our structure here, and then, like I said, I kind of want this open-ended on one side at least. So maybe these wooden gate frames might look half decent, and we just don't put a wooden gate in there. Maybe. Or maybe we even do put the wooden gates and we just keep them open most of the time. I guess it really doesn't necessarily matter that much. This, okay, that is just a little tiny window. So the question also is, loading from the other side. How do we do this? I think before I build walls or decide on what I want to do with this side, I'm tempted to also leave this other side kind of set up the same way with these wooden gates. And then maybe just have it so that I can just pull up with the UTV in front here and then just load whatever I need to into the back of it or into the trailer as need be. So let's maybe, let's play around with some ceiling stuff here. Let's see what we've got for options for that. A glass ceiling could be kind of cool for that. Oh, we do have these wooden ramps too. Oh, I like those wooden ramps even better. Let's do that instead of stairs. Kind of curious if these are decent for the UTV too, because then what we could potentially do is just drive up and through with the UTV, right? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's pull the UTV over here real quick. I just want to see what that looks like height-wise. I was talking about putting the ceiling on. I got completely sidetracked from that, but that's okay. All right. That's a pretty good height. Not 100% certain how loading down like this is going to be. I haven't really loaded from this angle before. It might suck. I've always just loaded from the back. But I'm kind of hoping that this might work out a little bit more efficiently. But I should be able to just kind of walk on and off of the UTV as need be with this particular setup. Okay, yeah, let's step back and get back into what I said we were going to do, which is take a look at the ceiling options. So we could do maybe like a double ceiling here. Game doesn't currently like that, but should be able to fix that with some quick adjustment here. That there. Let's see if that'll let us build these triangle roofs now. Still no. Okay. I probably need to put down this wooden gate frames over here too if I want to do that. Didn't want to do that. Okay, this still won't let me build this over here like this, so I guess maybe this option's gonna be out. That's kind of a shame. I kind of like the idea of this, like, double, like, sloped roof here. That is a shame. Okay, well, that's kind of stinks, but it's not the end of the world. Get rid of that. Curious how these floor pieces potentially would work as a ceiling. We could just have a flat roof using these floor pieces wherever those went. Yeah, it feels a little claustrophobic though. Very, very basic looking building. Not completely sold on that. I am feeling the base though, so maybe what we'll do is we'll go ahead, let's construct part of this base here and just get kind of maybe a little bit better sense of scale on this here. Let's also do this. I'll run back. We're going to grab one of our table saws here. Yeah, I'm getting some control issues there. It seems like the ceiling is actually providing a bit of an issue there, so we will probably want a sloped ceiling, I guess. Maybe even go so far as to have these saws in the middle here, and then just, I guess, go by ear a little bit. Still not really feeling the ceiling. Like I said, I think the ceiling's going to cause this issue. So let's go ahead, let's break that down. Let's do something else with the ceiling here. Let's play around with it and see what we can find. That's the other thing is, too, is we're going to be in here. We have this a fairly decent view there. Like I said, I did want kind of a view. If I block that off with just a regular ceiling, that's going to kind of stink. So maybe we do the greenhouse ceiling after all in here. And let's see what that looks like. So maybe a glass ceiling on one side, and then if I'm loading this stuff, I'm going to probably be looking down a lot, so it's probably not such a big deal if the other side of this is a glass ceiling. In fact, it might look a little bit better if only half of it's glass. We're going to need some glass, and we're going to need, I mean, more wood, but we'll just cut the wood ourselves. That's kind of the whole point of this. We got honey to sell. Let's go ahead. Let's check our chicken eggs. I can't remember if I pulled them after 1600. Did not. Yeah, I don't know if there's any minimum distance that these are gonna like not grow. I think it's pretty generous in terms of letting these trees grow, so we can have them all just kind of stacked on top of each other if we really wanted to. Even if we're not, even if we are not restricted, I would still prefer to have a little bit of like bare minimum space between these, just so that like logs aren't like clipping through the tree next to it and then like getting launched off into space while I'm trying to like saw them up. I'm thinking maybe what we do want to do here is, I definitely want them, I just don't know how I want to set them up, as these log racks. Maybe something like this, where we have like 2 in each of these bays, and then we have like a saw in the center here. And then potentially what I do is I just come up with the UTV. Well, I mean, I have the trees right there, so I guess the UTV is not really relevant for this because it'll just be more likely running the trees up the ramp. by foot. Otherwise, what I could do is just this. If I had the trees and they were a little bit further out, I just plop them into the UTV and then just like come up here and then just unload them like this. That would actually be really efficient doing it that way. Maybe I'll change how these trees are planted and try to like mirror these wood planks here and basically have 2 rows on each side of these bays with trees lined up. I don't know if I want to bother with it that much, but that might be something I'll do. Alright guys, yeah, I'll be back here once this is done. Alrighty guys, we are back. It is day 716 on the Last Chance Ranch. We have finally finished the sawmill at a very, very leisurely pace. We were doing some AFK stuff, and unfortunately this game doesn't pause on AFK, and we're also taking care of the other ranch stuff, so I actually don't know what day I left you guys off on, but it's probably been at least 2 or 3 days in game time, but we did finally get it done for the most part. There's a couple of interior adjustments I want to make just for mostly aesthetics, like getting some lighting put up there. Maybe some other decorative stuff put in here. I haven't figured that out yet. Now, I did make some changes, and there's probably going to be a couple further changes, but aesthetically, I generally like the silhouette of this right now, so I'm not sure if I want to make those changes. How I've set this up is basically this side here and then the far side over there are intended to be UTV drive-thrus, so that you can just come in here with your UTV, load it up, and drive on out. Obviously, the ramp would make a little bit smoother of an exit, but it's not the end of the world. The thing is when I was bringing the UTV over here and loading it like this, I thought that would be, you know, a nice, good way to load it, and I didn't much care for it. It's pretty awkward loading it like this, as you can see at least from this angle while standing, and even over here. And in first person, you can't really see what you're loading. It's much easier to load this from the back like this. You get a much better view of the bed, so yeah, we're gonna have that, and this will just be a drive-through thing here, and then again, I might install ramps. I haven't really decided yet. It would definitely, again, be a smoother exit, look a little less silly than them jumping out at the end, but I do visually like how this looks currently, so I'm not sure if I want to make that change yet. You know, a bunch of other stuff that's going to come up here in various other projects. Like I said, for upcoming projects, I would like to do another barn here with either pigs or cows. You know, what kind of cows specifically will be, you know, up for determination, maybe both eventually. Back over there somewhere will be a setup for like a combine and farming and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll have to kind of play the rest by ear. I don't know what I want to do with these chickens. Again, like I said, I'm not super happy with the chickens and how they've been so far. I'm definitely strongly considering getting rid of the chickens. They're not very cost effective. There's a lot of eggs though. I'm missing out on so many eggs. I have to like go through because I've been focused on this other project and figure out which of those is fertilized and which are not. I'm sure that these things are full of a bunch of eggs too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost thinking what I should have done in the first place is I should have just kept the small chicken coop, or maybe even just kept them in a pen and just had one rooster, one hen, and every baby that came out would be fertilized, and I would just put it in a separate pen and sell it as soon as it became an adult. I don't know. That's almost what I think I should have done. I'm curious what you guys think. What would you guys like to see the next project we undertake for the ranch be? If you guys want to see this series more, what's the next project we tackle on the ranch? Do we go for one of the barns? Do we redo the chicken coop? Do we set up like maybe a second chicken coop just as it's like a test bed where, you know, one side's for basically the hen and the rooster will pull, you know, one of each of them from this and just try breeding and see which of these makes more money, which of them is more effective. I have a strong feeling that I know which one's more effective for the most part, but I am curious what you guys would be keen on seeing for our next step here on the ranch. There's definitely a lot of directions we can go. I'm not so familiar with a lot of this stuff. You know, we've got some of the basics down. We've got our greenhouse kind of underway. We've got, for the most part, a pretty steady flow of grapes here, which we're going to focus on that a little bit more, buy some more fertilizer here now that we've finally got all of these beds set up. I just got to actually plant grapes there for the next session here, as soon as these are all ready to be harvested. Let's check this real quick, make sure these are all healthy. I haven't really been looking at these icons when they're popping up. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and end it there, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Take it easy. I'll see you all in the next one.